I still remember Daniel laughing and saying, "You worry too much, man. We're solid." I believed him because I wanted to. I built my first company in a rented room with a broken fan, and trust was the only currency I had back then. I told myself, if I ever make it, I'll keep loyal people close. That promise built my empire and almost destroyed it. "You're late again," I said when Daniel finally walked into the boardroom. He smiled. "Relax. Numbers don't run away." Lucas adjusted his tie and said, "Let's focus. We have contracts to review." Evelyn squeezed my hand under the table and whispered, "Ignore them. You've been stressed." Mark leaned back and joked, "That's what billions do to a man." I laughed, but something felt off. Meetings ended without decisions. Files went missing. When I entered rooms, conversations died. One night, I asked Evelyn, "Are we okay?" She kissed my cheek and said, "Why would you ask that?" "Because I feel alone," I said. "You're never alone," she replied. Too quickly. Daniel stopped answering calls after midnight. Lucas canceled lunches. Mark avoided eye contact. I told myself, success makes people awkward. That lie was easier than fear. A week later, I found an envelope on my desk. No name. No return address. Inside was a printed report with my company logo and a title that made my chest tighten. Psychological Evaluation Summary. "This isn't funny," I muttered. I read every line slowly. Declared unfit, emotionally unstable. Recommendation to transfer control. Asset freeze clauses highlighted in yellow. My hands shook. I walked straight to Lucas and dropped the papers in front of him. "Explain this." He went pale. "Where did you get that?" "So it's real," I said. "It's preliminary," he replied. "Nothing finalized. Who ordered it?" I asked. Lucas hesitated. "The board requested safeguards." "Name them," I said. He stayed silent. I called an emergency meeting and said, "Look at me, all of you." Daniel said, "You're overreacting." "Am I?" I asked. "Because this says I'm finished." Mark muttered, "Let's calm down." "No," I said. "Let's be honest." No one spoke. After they left, I sat alone and said aloud, "So this is how it ends." The room answered with silence. I stared at my reflection in the glass and said, "You trusted them." My reflection didn't argue. I asked myself, was I blind or just hopeful? The answer hurt too much to say. I whispered, "They planned this slowly." I whispered again, "They smiled while doing it." I whispered, "And I let them." I added, "But I'm still standing." I said, "This isn't over." I said it louder, "This is only the beginning." I promised myself, I will remember every face. I promised, I will not forget. I promised, I will not forgive. I sat in the dark and spoke softly. "I gave you everything." I said, "You confused kindness with blindness." I said, "That mistake will cost you dearly." I called Daniel afterward. "Did you know about this?" There was silence. Then he said, "You've been under pressure." "We're protecting the company." "From me?" I asked. "From risk," he said, cold now. I drove to Mark's place and said, "Your family. Tell me the truth." He rubbed his face. "I signed because everyone else did." "So you sold me out," I said. "I didn't think it would go this far," he whispered. That night, Evelyn sat across from me and said, "They said you'd lose everything." "So you helped them," I said quietly. "I was scared," she cried. "I didn't want to be poor again," I nodded. Honesty came too late. I poured a drink and said to myself, "Trust built this life." Then I whispered, "And trust will end it, or reshape it." I told myself this pain would become discipline, memory, and fuel for what followed next. I looked at the city lights and realized something painful and clear. Betrayal doesn't arrive loudly. It arrives dressed as concern, spoken in soft voices by people you love. And once you hear it, you can never unhear it. That was the moment my old life ended. Forever. I stopped showing up on time, on purpose. When Daniel asked, "Are you okay?" I shrugged and said, "Define okay." I let my voice crack. I let my hands shake. I wanted them to see weakness and relax. I wanted them careless. Evelyn watched me pour another drink and whispered, "You're scaring me." "Good," I almost said, but instead I replied, "I'm just tired." She touched my arm. "Maybe they're right. Maybe you need rest." I nodded like a defeated man and said, "Maybe I do." At night, alone, I stayed sharp. I called Rachel first. "You warned me once," I said. "I didn't listen." She exhaled slowly. Daniel's been moving numbers for months. Can you prove it? I asked. I already did, she said. You just never asked. We met quietly. She slid files across the table and said, offshore accounts. Fake vendors. Same signatures. I smiled for the first time in days. You're still honest. Someone had to be, she replied. I called Henry next. I need eyes, I said. He laughed softly. You finally ready to fight? I'm ready to wait, I said. That's more dangerous, he replied. Henry dug deep. He recorded calls. He traced payments. He said, they forged medical reports. So they plan to erase me, I said. They plan to bury you alive, he answered. At the office, I stumbled on purpose. I missed meetings. I let Lucas sigh loudly and say, we'll handle it. I watched Noah from across the room, quiet, observant, invisible. I called him in. Why do you stay late? I asked. He froze. I don't have a life. Good, I said. You want one? He blinked. Yes. Then listen, I said. Say nothing. Watch everything. He nodded. I already do. Noah fed me schedules, passwords, whispers. He said, they think you're done. Perfect, I replied. Evelyn confronted me one night. You smell like alcohol, she said. I am alcohol, I replied. She cried. I don't recognize you. That makes two of us, I said. She hesitated. Daniel says you're dangerous now, I laughed weakly. Then stay away. She did. I moved assets silently, shell companies. Blind trusts. I signed papers while pretending not to read. I let Daniel see me panic. I let Mark see me beg. I don't want to lose everything, I told him. He avoided my eyes. You should have thought earlier. Yeah, I said softly. I should have. Henry called me at midnight. It's all there. Enough to end them? I asked. Enough to destroy them, he said. I stared at the ceiling and asked myself, do I expose them? Rachel said, they'll spin it. Henry said, they'll survive. Noah said, they'll learn nothing. I chose silence. I smiled at Daniel and said, thank you for holding things together. He patted my shoulder. That's what friends do. I watched him leave and whispered, friends don't sharpen knives. They celebrated early. They talked freely. They made mistakes. I let them. One night, alone, I said aloud, they think I'm broken. I poured a drink and didn't touch it. I said, they think I'm scared. I deleted nothing. I said, they think I've lost control. I transferred everything. I sat in the dark and smiled, not with joy, but with certainty. Power doesn't return loudly. It returns quietly, while everyone else is laughing. That was the moment the game changed, even though they didn't know it yet. The call came early. Daniel's been arrested, Henry said. Fraud, wire transfers. He's confused. I closed my eyes and replied, he always hated surprises. At the office, chaos felt loud. Phones rang. People whispered. I walked in calmly and Noah said, they're panicking. Good, I answered. Lucas called me next. My license is suspended, he snapped. Someone leaked documents. I said, that's unfortunate. You knew? He accused. I suspected. I replied. Mark showed up unannounced. My accounts are frozen, he said. They're saying I'm bankrupt. You signed everything, I reminded him. I trusted you, he whispered. I looked at him and said, that was your first mistake. Evelyn came last. She was shaking. Please, she cried. I was afraid. Of what? I asked. Of losing comfort, she said. I nodded. You chose it. She reached for me. We can fix this. I stepped back. We already did. The boardroom filled slowly. I took my seat and Daniel's chair stayed empty. Someone cleared their throat. I stood and said, you all voted against me. Lucas snapped. You're not stable. I slid a folder across the table. Read. Silence followed. I added, and listen. Recordings played. Voices confessed. Lies echoed. Faces drained of color. This is illegal, someone said. So was trying to erase me, I replied. The chairman stuttered, you planned this. I smiled faintly. You forced it. Hands trembled. Votes shifted. Control returned to me without noise. After Mark blocked my path. I'm family, he begged. I said, family doesn't sell blood. Lucas muttered, you destroyed us. I answered, you destroyed yourselves. Evelyn followed me outside. Say something, she cried. I searched for feeling and found none. I already did, I said. She fell silent. Henry called later. It's done. Yes, I replied. Rachel texted. Justice won. I typed back, truth did. Noah asked, what now? I said, live. That night I stood alone. I didn't celebrate. I didn't smile. I whispered, it's over. The city didn't answer. I felt lighter, not happier. Power returned, but innocence stayed gone. I realized revenge isn't loud. It's quiet and complete. I walked away without looking back. Justice didn't scream. It whispered.